part of the reason people listen to this podcast is to find out what's going on the inside. And this is, I feel very strongly that this was an attempt to knock the important news of the day off the front page.
Our first topic, though, is so controversial that we debated whether we should even debate it. But since it is an issue that's irritating some people in all kinds of ways, we're going to go there. Alberta's getting new license plates. Okay, Paula, you give us the facts then.
All right, the facts are that Alberta hasn't replaced its license plates in decades. I mean, I'm driving around with a license plate on the back of my car that is more than 25 years old. So there is an argument to be made that we have come to the time when we should replace our plates, especially with our growing population. And a plan back when Ed Stelmach was premier to replace the plates got put on hold because it seemed politically and economically costly. So this issue is back now. There are a couple of controversies. One is that they have removed the catchphrase "Wild Rose Country" from the plates, which may or may not have something to do with the fact that the main opposition party is the Wild Rose Party, and perhaps the government doesn't really want people driving around promoting Wild Rose Country while they're worrying about the Wild Rose taking over government next time. The other controversy is that we've been given 3 designs from which to choose. They're all basically the same image of mountains. One is a very photorealistic picture. The other 2 are more stylized. And so there have been some controversies around the fact that the images are all very similar, frankly, that they're a bit cheesy, and that really, you can only see mountains from very few places in this province. And if you live in, say, Fort McMurray or Edmonton or Red Deer or Lethbridge, you can't see any mountains. So that is some of the controversy. And then I'm sure Karen has an opinion about something else.
Well, I can tell you what the reaction in the press gallery was yesterday. There is no question in my mind that the reason that the government released the information about, or the press release about the changing license plates on the day that it did, was specifically to knock the Auditor General's report off the front page and off the top of the 6 o'clock news. Now, I've been covering this beat for a long time now. I have never seen Auditor General Merwan Saher release a report that was so scathing and so toughly worded as he did on Tuesday.
Okay, and we're going to talk about that.
That's right. And the government knows these reports are coming. Not only do they know because they're under investigation, but they also know because they get advance copies so that they can prepare their response. Now, the Auditor General castigated the province on its crummy climate change plan. It castigated the province on its outsourcing of surgical facilities. It said that all of the annual reports that they release provide little information and virtually no analysis to Albertans. The overarching theme was simple. It said that the government doesn't tell Albertans what it's doing. And the supreme and spectacular irony of this story is that the government took deliberate steps to prevent Albertans from knowing what it's preventing Albertans from knowing. And I think that Albertans ought to give some consideration as to whether or not that is a transparent and accountable government.
Really? You don't think you can have, I mean, it's a big government. Can't you do more than one thing on the same day? I mean, can't you have the Auditor General's reports come down and then also in Calgary during Stampede do a thing about license plates, which people seem to care about? I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
I'm not sure that I can actually give the government this much credit for concocting that efficient a conspiracy.
I think that's their job.
Yeah.
I mean, do you remember when Neela Barton was press secretary for the McGuinty administration, and there was that whole document dump that the Globe and Mail got that showed unequivocally that they had released the information about their new tanning act that prevented under 18s from using artificial tanning salons to specifically and unequivocally to knock the stories about the gas plants off the front page. And that was all released in emails that the Globe and Mail obtained. This is their job. This is what they do. They manage the message and they try to get the bad news off the front page in favor of stuff like what we saw. And, you know, I didn't hear anything about the Auditor General's report on the CBC News on the way home. I mean, that's astounding to me.
Sure enough, we have the, as you can see here, we have the pictures of the license plates on our front page. And
right where the headline about the Auditor General was supposed to go.
And Karen and Miriam's reports on the Auditor General are inside the paper. This is a true, now, I mean, that was our choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I asked editors about it. They said it's a talker, and it is a talker, and it is news. And as Paula points out, there are legitimate reasons for changing the license plate. I just, you know, part of the reason people listen to this podcast is to find out what's going on the inside. And this is, I feel very strongly that this was an attempt to knock the important news of the day off the front page.
Yeah. Graham, license plates, important or not? Where do you stand on that?
Yeah. I'm not sure I really agree with Karen's conspiracy.
Okay.
They've been planning this license plate thing, as Paul has pointed out, for some time. We've known that they're going to talk about the license plate issue for some time. Like they've known about it for some time. to me, it's a case where it's sort of serendipitous for them that this came out at the same time as the AG's report. And it is annoying to a journalist to see people focused on the license plates. I got to say, last night at dinner, we had like a family dinner last night, and I tried bringing up the AG's report and climate change.
It's fun times at Graham Thompson's.
Exactly. And there was animosity towards that. The topic they were talking about organically, it came out from all of them, was the license plate.
Well, of course, because we all have one on our cars.
And people were emailing me yesterday. They were phoning me about this. They're upset about the different choices they have. No one talked about climate change or the AG's report. So in that sense, maybe it's brilliant if the government actually planned it that way.
I just can't credit them with that much smart.
I agree with you that that this would take some sort of planning. The timing must be perfect. This was, to me, serendipitous. This is the government just, in a sense, through its own luck. It's a very lucky government in many ways, managing to get this on the front page as opposed to the climate change and the AG's report. So anyway, having said all that, this I find it to be a distraction. Is who really cares? But the issue of the wild rose country, again, even though this was planned years ago, they've been planning this license plate change. It has been annoying the heck out of the government MLAs that the wild rose name is on the license plates. So there's a bit of an icing on the cake here. If they can get rid of that license plate with the Wild Rose name, it's a bonus for them.
Do they seem to be kind of petty, though, to be taking that off?
I think the Wild Rose is having a field day with this. I mean, they get a double win. One, they get to accuse the government of doing just as Karen has said, distracting from major important public policy issues of the day. And second of all, they have a wonderful thing with which to tease and twit the government and say, oh, well, you saying it's not Wild Rose Country? Rob Anderson has been having a field day on Twitter with this.
Well, because the logic is really, are people voting, or I mean the polls? Let me start again. The interesting thing is that the polls unequivocally are running in favor of the Wild Rose. I mean, they're defeating the Tories again and again and again, virtually across the province. So, the joke is, is it because of the license plates?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask, seriously, so we had this other discussion when we should have been discussing the Serious AG's report. I was having a vote in the newsroom about which license plate we liked best.
No.
I like number one, and we should add that, right, that they're letting people vote, and I frankly don't give a...
It's democracy in action.
I don't
eh?
care that it doesn't have a motto anymore, although I think the website's really...
Let me make a plug here for Lucas Timmons' app on our website. He's created an app where you can actually put your own slogan into the license plate. And Mariam Ibrahim, my colleague down at the legislature, put climate change country under there yesterday.
I like the ones that say winter is coming, the Game of Thrones analogy, because it always is. It's true.